And welcome to Light Years. Andy Lou, the Warriors are officially halfway through the season. And just like we all predicted, they are one game below 500. If I told you before the season started that'd be 20-21 right now, what would you say?
Somebody got hurt. So and I guess somebody did, but I would not.
But it wasn't like they were winning beforehand. So.
Yeah, exactly. Like I would have said Steph and Draymond got hurt, and that's why they're 20-21. I would not have known that. Oh, you know what? The first 25 games of the season, everyone was healthy, and they were still terrible.
Yeah,
they were still terrible. So can we get producer Tim at maybe for this show to just splice in some reaction from last year's midseason pod? Because I know you and I sat here and we did the exact same show last season, and you and I were much happier. So yeah, wow.
Yeah. So my question, so we're gonna do our grades for everyone's, players, coaches, front office, other stuff. Should we start with the coaches in front office, or should we start with players?
Let's go front office.
All right. I'll let you go first. I'll go after you. So let's start front office. What you got, my man?
I saw the vision in our preseason shows because we had a very long and happy preseason. We were eating up the two timeline, right? All in on the young guys. They were ready to go. So coming into the season, I don't think I had anything bad to say about the front office. They also nailed every single selection that they made last season with Otto, GP, Bielitsa. And it felt kind of the same way coming into the season. Not the case. I gave him a D. So I'm not giving pluses or minuses, Sam. I'm just straight up. I'm giving a D. It has not worked. None of the young players have been ready to go. Kuminga's the closest person, and he's now hurt. We have no idea when he's come back. Steve Kerr said yesterday on a radio interview that he has no idea when he's come back. The signings outside of Dante DiVincenzo, who missed the first week or two of the season with a hamstring, JaMychal Green's been awful, right? So there's no trades. It doesn't seem like there's been any pickups on the horizon. So, and then you combine that with the people that have left, which they probably could have brought back. That's a D, Sam. There's no way around it. It has been a bad setup of players around the top six guys.
Okay. I gave the front office a C, and let me explain why. So on the one hand, I have to give them credit. The Wiggins extension was well done. The Poole extension, also well done. They got them inked up before they hit free agency, both below market. The Baldwin pick was a good pick. It was shrewd. He's going to help the team down the line. And Dante, for your one pricey, and we know they only had the taxpayer mid-level signing, he fits. And so those were all positive moves. But the reason it's a C is they completely whiffed on the front court, and that's probably the single biggest reason they're 20-21. JaMychal Green didn't work. They let Otto walk. Maybe they were right to, considering he's out for the year, but they didn't replace him. They didn't find a guy who could coherently eat those minutes, and they banked way too heavily on James Wiseman. And, he missed the entire year, and when he played as a rookie, he wasn't good. So you bring in a gamble, two gambles, it didn't work out. So that's why they get a C, and I'm being generous with that because the front court is kind of an important element to it. But the only reason I give it to C so far is they do have the chance at the trade deadline to fix the front court issue. And if they do that, then they can enter the playoffs with something resembling last year's squad, and I feel pretty good about that. So all in all, like, there were some positives, but it's like they kind of left a huge gaping hole. So we could talk about getting Wiggins for that money was good, or Baldwin, what a steal at 28, but it's like you kind of put a huge hole in the roster. So it can't give you any higher than the C.
At the end of the day, it's judged on, to me, what's happening right now. Because even to your point with Baldwin, it's like, yeah, but can he play right now? I mean, some might argue that he actually can. Some might argue Baldwin should actually play more minutes. But, you can also say the reason why Anthony Lamb and Ty Jerome have to play so many minutes, and we'll get to those guys later in our grades, is because the front office didn't give him anybody else to play. I mean, Steve Kerr has no choice, right? So, yeah, I gave him a lower grade just because I would go see if this team was like 26-15. Like maybe that's a little high, maybe 24. right? Maybe 24-17. Maybe they're sitting in the 3-4 seed range. Then even if those moves didn't work out, that's fine.
You're
but
right. 24 would
results
actually have them at the 3-4 range, to your point.
Right. So it's like, but it's all results based. And part of the reason is not all, they're 20 and 21, not all because of front office, but we'll get to the rest who's at fault, but it's a big part of it. Big part of it.
Yeah. I mean, this will be a theme of this episode, but shocker, one game below 500. The 8 seed currently for the defending champs who brought back the same starting lineup. Like, guys aren't all going to have high grades. I can't come in here and give a bunch of A's and B's. If they were 30 and 11, it'd be all A's and B's, like, but it is what it is, like we're midway through. I know you were like me as a student. It's like you get the midterm grades. It's like C, D, C. And it's like, all right, now it's time. Now it's time to lock in. Now it's time to lock in because if I don't get that fixed, I'm in trouble.
It feels like university when I was at we both went to UCs, but
midterm grades don't count. It's just kind of like a reminder, like, all right, no more going out 6 nights a week.
Get it together, dude. It was back then in university, you'd be like, at least for me, I was the oldest brother, so I didn't know that grades didn't matter for what you wanted to do outside of like med school and whatever. I didn't know grades didn't matter, so I was like, oh shit, I have like a 77 right now, whatever bullshit class I was taking. It's what the Warriors are at, and then but it's only a 10-week semester, 10-week quarter. So it's, I guess outside of the Warriors have a long time. I guess what I'm trying to say. The Warriors still have 40 games to fix this. You only get 4 more weeks in college, right? So I go D, Sam. I go D, and that's going to be the theme for me across for this show.
It's Andy's trying to scare him straight. All right, let's get to the coaching staff. What grade did you give the coaching staff?
I went D. I went D again. No growth from the young guys. James Wiseman played. He was in the rotation for the first 10 games for no reason. There's no way they watched him in the offseason and said he should have been in the 10 games. Moses Moody hasn't progressed. And you could say that's because of Moody or not, but he hasn't progressed. Kuminga, I think, didn't progress because he was never put in the right situation. You put him at the 3 or the 4 next to, I mean, come on. Like, what do you expect? Then when he finally got to play, he got hurt. So a bit of unluckiness there. Outside of that, I just way too much of the two-way guys. Maybe they had no choice, but maybe you survive by playing some of the younger guys and just let them play. Because even if they played these two-way guys so often, Sam, they actually didn't even win more games. It's still 20 and 21. So the ends never justify the means that the young players never developed. It felt like coming into this season, that was what the coaching staff was supposed to do. And then to me, the biggest thing is Jordan Poole has been very up and down. And I think a lot of that is Jordan Poole's fault, but some of that is the front office. Some of that is the coaching staff too, is that why was he entrusted to be the main ball handler? And that has been a huge fail. Maybe 40 games from now, it'll work out because he's developing, right? But as of right now, all those things to me lands them a D grade.
I gave the coaching staff a C. So I'm going to echo a lot of the same things you said. On the positive for the coaching staff, managing the whole preseason punch thing, got to give him a little credit. That's Steve Kerr in his A game. Pretty good at conflict resolution and making sure a whole situation doesn't blow up. And they did eventually find a role for Kuminga. Injury kind of sucks, but it does feel like he's coming around. Outside of that, it's hard to find any positives. I echo your sentiment with Moses Moody. He was outplaying Damian Lee at the end of the year. So they let Damian Lee walk, and then Moody regresses. I still believe there's a good player in there. There's a bunch of reasons, but ultimately he's regressed, and I put that more on the coaching staff than Moody. Then secondarily, they just mail it in way too many games this year. And I'm not talking about getting outplayed. I'm talking about coming out there with low effort. I'm talking about coming out there with lazy ideas. Do you remember last year how many times it felt like they had individualized game plans? They're picking up ball handlers 3/4 court. It's just a way more creative coaching staff. This year, it's like, I thought the Phoenix game was a perfect summary for why this coaching staff has been mediocre all year. It took them till 6 minutes in the end of the game to realize, oh yeah, Damian Lee can't really dribble. Maybe we should pressure him. It's all those sort of things. that have led to marginal losses. I
Lots
still
of them.
think the front office is probably the bigger culprit here because the front court is terrible, and you can see Draymond and Looney, kind of wearing down, and that's going to be the end of the Warriors season if they don't resolve that end of day. But the coaching staff isn't doing them any favors. If this team generated a couple more wins just by kind of, I don't want to say coming up with playoff like game plans, but just like literally being a little more creative with it. Maybe they're 23-18, maybe they're 24-17, and maybe they're not in this situation where they have to chase it as hard.
This coaching staff, and the thing is, this coaching staff is pretty much the same. And they lost Mike Brown, but Kenny Atkinson's still there. John Mulalala's still there. Like their coaching staff is still there. I think they rely so much on having high IQ players that it is the adjustment to maybe playing more normalized basketball the way that the rest of the NBA plays makes it difficult for them. We talked about this in 2019 for those people that or
2020,
2020, 2020.
Shout
for
out
those
Kelly
that listen, shout out Ken Bazemore. You know what I mean? Like those guys were, and then JTA came in, he's high IQ, right? And he was able to play 30 minutes a game almost, which wasn't a good thing for them, but they rely so much on having IQ players. And this season, you can tell these young guys aren't the smartest kids on the court, and the veterans aren't smart either. Like Dante's like, he's got good IQ. I wouldn't say he's super smart. And then JaMychal Green, we'll get to him, but
he's not a decision maker. Like you can see why teams put JaMychal Green in the corner on offense. They don't want the ball in his hands, he's not Draymond Green. You're not having to run a bunch of dribble handoffs.
Yeah.
And like, I agree with you. Those are the type of things where it's like, okay, he's good when he's using that athleticism or spotting up. So put him in those situations.
Yeah.
We have a decade of film on him. What are we trying to do? Make him a player he isn't. Those are the little things where I'm just like, I get it. He's not the player you want, but end of the day, you're 20-21 now, and you could have probably generated a couple more wins by just playing to his strengths. Not everyone needs to be a playmaker.
Yeah. I mean, Bielitsa's decision making right now, even though like last season we would get frustrated with some of his dribble drives or turnovers, but
sure,
that level of IQ on decision making is probably top 5 on this team right now. He was on the team, and I don't know what Bielitsa's doing. I'm sure he's enjoying life back in wherever he's from, but the Warriors can use someone like that. That's for sure. That's for damn sure.
Yeah. All right, let's get to the players now. Okay, so Steph Curry.
Yeah, this one's an easy one. It's the only plus or minus I gave. Steph's an A+. You could probably give an A just because he was hurt. I mean, he's been out for a month, and he just came back. But is there anything left to say about Steph? Just the same old, churning along, 34, about to be 35, MVP level play. I mean, he, to me, was the best player in the world before he got hurt. He's looked fine the other day. He's going to look great tomorrow night on Friday. Nothing to be said, man. As long as they got Steph Curry, they're going to win a playoff series against any team in the Western Conference. It's what it feels like to me.
Averaging 37-7, 50, 43, 90. I mean, he's otherworldly. There's not much else to say. He just stay healthy, Steph. That's really all we need right now.
Well, he got his month off.
Yeah.
Every player needs a month off. KD's getting his month right now. So every player needs a month. He's getting his month. So the Warriors, they need him to get through the next 40 games, right? 41 games. They need to go at least 25-15, right? Like in those games. So that's Steph's got to be a little better.
But yeah. So I have nothing really else. Yeah. I gave Steph an A. I don't really have too much to add. The only negative you could say is health.
Yep.
That's it.
Yep.
All right. Clay.
I gave him a C.
I also gave him a C.
I saw your notes and I was like, oh, damn it. I didn't want to go like he's great for the last 2 weeks, so I'm going to give him a B. He was so bad early in the season, right? He was just so bad. He was not in shape. He wasn't playing defense. He was shooting terrible shots, and he was moody. So pretty straightforward to me. I think a lot of fans were not bought in, and they were kind of mad about it. But end of the day, I think with Klay Thompson, it's a matter of, if you're a fan, whether you believe that he could get back there or not. So I think it reflects his play for 40 games. But if I were to say, where's Klay going to end up at the end of the season? At least, like, if we're doing grades after 82 games, Klay's going to be at least a B, B+. Like, he's just to me, where he's going to be is going to be the more important part.
Yeah, to me, the real issue is coming in out of shape and kind of the mopiness of the first 20 games. I don't, Clay's going to go through shooting slumps just because he's human and that happens. But the stuff he can control, not controlling it, that's kind of the part that was really disappointing for me. And lo and behold, yeah, after 2 weeks of getting his ass into shape, 2 months of getting his ass into shape, he started playing like Klay Thompson again, right? So you expect a little better from him. C is what it is. All right, Wiggins. Wiggins is kind of tough because of how much Wiggins missed more time than Steph. And, he only played 24 games, which I mean, yeah, he did miss like 15 straight there. So that's problematic, but
kind of fluky though. Weird fluky. I gave him an A just because he was so good when he was on the floor. So good. And I just couldn't penalize him for being hurt for a guy that has never been hurt. I think part of why he sat out a lot is just Rick Celebrity sent him out and then just a weird injury thing. But yeah, I had to go. They need him now more than I think almost anyone else outside of Steph. They need Andrew Wiggins. It's
I mean, the formula
offensively and defensively. It's crazy.
The formula has always been there. Steph, Draymond, and just all the two-way wings you can put around the two of them, and he's probably their best two-way wing. He is. He's probably surpassed Klay. Klay can reach some levels, but like game to game, Wiggins is more reliable.
It's sad that he comes back in. You give me him, and I assume because of injury, but like
that's it. Yeah,
it's sad. They need to get him and Kuminga on the floor together.
Right.
They need it.
I mean, I want to see the Steph, Klay, Wiggins, Kuminga, Draymond lineup that feels like it can be their best playoff lineup, but Kuminga's really young and it's got no real run yet. So we got to actually see them work on it. And that's probably something, we'll get updates on Kuminga. I'm not as pessimistic as you, but it doesn't sound like he's definitely not back on Friday. So we'll see. That's something they're going to have to work on. Overall, like Wiggins just been Mr. Consistency for this team. Yeah. He's shooting 43% from three. He's rebounding well. I mean, he's just doing everything you want from him. He's taken a step from the playoffs last year. And, hopefully he stays healthy the second half of the season. That'll go a long way towards success for them. Next one, Draymond.
I flirted with lower grade, but I went C. I think people are probably going to be surprised, but you can't get over the punch. You can't get over the punch. The good, I'm sure you're going to tell me the good, is that he did carry the Warriors through this home stretch. And ever since he's come off the bench, ever since he's playing with the bench unit in the start of second quarters, it's helped stabilize the Warriors. But the punch was ridiculous. He knocked a dude out. He knocked a teammate out right before the season. When everybody was happy, we were talking about how happy the team was, and he just knocks Jordan Poole out. And the season starts off weird, and it's been weird since. And it's still weird. They're 20-21. How many times are we going to say it on this pod? It's still weird. That's a C. And honestly, I was going to give him a D. Just ridiculous start of the season. And I think he's probably I'm sure they're fine now. It's what everyone is saying, but just a ridiculous start of the season.
I gave him a B-, and maybe I'm just a softie. Ironic, but anyway.
Poole deserved it. Sam
what I was gonna say is I feel like he's been playing some really good basketball in general. Shooting the wall, 32% from three is still a huge improvement for him.
Good.
And the defense is always there. The punch is really what I penalize him for. There's no way to like really quantify how much that screwed the Warriors at the start of the season, but it definitely did something, It seems like they've got past it, but it definitely did something. So I got to criticize. I got to hold that against him. He's got the rest of the season to make it up.
Yeah.
Loon.
Playoffs too. Looney's a guy that I was close. I didn't give too many A's because this team doesn't deserve any A's. I went 2 A's, Steph and Wiggins. Loon got a B for me, just model of consistency. But it's the upside of Loon that I think it's because his team is injured so often. So maybe this is where I'll divert from the Loon love.
Sure.
That I'm sure you'll give.
Loon, by the way, played every game because he is the Iron Man.
I do think that's not a good thing at this point. He looks tired. He looks tired, and his defense, all that stuff. Like, I do think it affects. Like, guy, go sit a couple games. And the problem, maybe you can blame this on the front office, is he can't sit. He actually can't sit because what the hell are they going to do if Looney sits,
I don't
right?
even need him to sit. I need him to he doesn't need to play 25, 30 minutes. Like if they can get him a couple weeks stretch where he's playing 10 to 15 minutes a game, that works for me too. But they can't do that because they don't have the bodies to.
They literally cannot. And I think he doesn't get an A because the upside isn't there where if guys are sitting that he can win them a game. It's not who he is. And I can't blame him for that. But the Warriors, I think, are putting him in a tough situation right now where he has to play every game. That is hard for Loon. So maybe I should have given him an A. Maybe I'm talking myself into but I went B.
I gave Looney an A, and just to be clear, I gave 3 A's: Steph, Wiggins, and Looney. And that's really it because those are the only 3 guys who have been consistent every time they've played this season. When Looney plays, you know what you're going to get. He's played up to his peak Looney ability. I have no critique of that. Same has been true of Wiggins, even though he missed a month there. Same has been true of Steph Curry. They all deserve A's for that reason. And other than that, everyone else has work to do to improve. So I have nothing else to really add, but to me, it's like you got to give Looney an A just because, he can't do more than he's done. He's given it an A.
I think that's to me, that's why he gets a B, is because he can't do more. But anyway, I know people are gonna kill me for that. It's just
I get the logic. I tend to you're just I get it.
Annoyed with this team.
What was I gonna say? All right, now we get to have fun. Jordan Poole.
Can I do the bad? Can I do the bad?
Can we just first let's say our grades and then let's have the convo?
C.
Oh, wow. I went C-. I think it's the first one I went lower than you.
You thought I'd go lower. To be honest, you thought I'd go lower.
I did. Just so the listeners know, I did not see Andy's grades before I gave mine and vice versa. So it was kind of amusing when I saw them right before recording. But anyway, Jordan Poole, C from Andy, C- from Sam.
You can't go D because the value of Jordan Poole being someone. What is the alternative? Is it so Ty Jerome plays 30 minutes as the main ball handler? Do I need to see to see Draymond pass the ball back and forth like they did
Traffic Cup, baby?
Yeah. Like I don't need any of that. I don't need like Kuminga to dribble the ball more. I don't need Klay to dribble the ball more, right? So I think the value of Jordan Poole in that stretch that Steph was missing. That was a B, like that stretch. So everything else coming off the bench has been horrible this season. That game you saw against Phoenix, horrible until he decided to actually show up and shoot the ball. So that's why I balanced it right in the middle.
To me, the issue is he didn't progress from last year, and that's what's been kind of disappointing for me. His shot's fallen off. I still think he can shoot it, but 31% is what it is. He needs to be at 31. He needs to be at 37, 38%. He shot 39% in the playoffs. The Poole who shoots 40% from 3 is like a all-star. He's like flirting with stardom. 30%, that's more Lou Williams territory for me, and isn't that kind of the difference? If Poole shoots 40% from 3, he's a borderline all-star. If he shoots 30%, he's a very expensive 6th man. It's really that simple. Everyone wants to focus on every other move he has. No, the difference between the star guards and the 6th man bucket getter guards are the star guards put the ball in the basket efficiently every night. And he has way too many 4 for 19 type of nights. You know what I'm saying?
30% is not a 6th man. 30% is dude, you might be out of the league. 30% on the volume that he's shooting it at is unacceptable. 30%.
31. Okay, yes, I agree. But he's still, his overall efficiency from the field's not terrible. It's just, it reminds me of Jamal Crawford. Jamal Crawford always shot 31% from 3 because he was inconsistent, but he put the ball in the basket in the mid-range in other ways. Fine. But that's not who the Warriors invested in. You know what I'm saying? That's a journeyman 6th man, right? You sign him
4%, please. Non-negotiable. 34%.
Fair. To me, the second part of Poole that's more disappointing is growth as a playmaker. Hasn't been there yet. They clearly wanted him to run a high pick and roll offense
Yeah.
with James Wiseman in the second unit, and that didn't happen. And part of that's on Wiseman, but also part of it's on Jordan Poole. It's abundantly clear he's better when he plays off ball and makes a play than trying to have him run the offense. So for me, that lack of growth is why I get to see. But you did bring up the positive, which is like, dude, only 2 players played every game, him and Looney. And they were able to maintain without Steph. And, Poole will never be Steph. And it's always going to be unfair we compare him to Steph. But he is at least able to carry the offense for a game here and there when Steph's out. And that at least has some value.
But look, I disagree with the I think it's the coaching staff's fault for trying to make him a playmaker, though. You watch Jordan Poole and you're like, dude, I don't need him to be a playmaker. I need him to score. And I think that's taken away from him even being an efficient scorer, I think, is 31%. I think it's taken away. You could blame some of that on the coaching staff too, is that if he focused entirely on just scoring, he wouldn't be at 31%. And 31% is 31%. It's 31%, man.
Yeah,
like, you gotta be at
he takes some tough shots. Like, let's be honest. If
31%. I mean, I'm almost like a parent, like an Asian parent at this point. Like, hey man, like 78% of 78%, that's a C. Like 78% of 78%. Like, we gotta bring that. I don't care what the context is. It cannot be that low. I don't care what. Well, unless the context is that you got punched in the face by your teammate before the season started. I guess in that context, that might make sense. But if we're talking just on court, Sam, that is not acceptable. It's not acceptable.
For a guy who can shoot it, he shoots really low percentages from 3, way too often. And,
it needs to be fixed. So I don't know what it is. Then stop taking bad shots then, if that's the case, right?
Yeah.
Like if that's the case, if it's tough shots, then stop taking them.
Try to be a little more under control. Yeah. They want him putting pressure on the defense with his jumper, and it does work to open up the floor. But, like, we need better than this. That's all I'm going to leave it at that.
Yes.
Let's get to Dante. Dante probably, well, I still think the Wiggins extension was the best move the front office made, but Dante was a good front office pickup. I give him a B+. What'd you give him?
B.
The same range.
Yeah.
I feel like the positive is when he was signed this summer, I'm like, this guy fits what the Warriors want to do in terms of, he'll pass, he'll cut, he'll defend. He does a little bit of everything. Maybe not great at anything, but really good at everything. And he makes really fast decisions. He's lived up to that. I think he's been excellent. He can't make a layup. But hey,
he really can't.
Neither. Hey, we love Andre Iguodala, so I can't hold it too much against him.
Like, who on the Warriors can make a layup though? It's like 2 guys, 3 guys. Stephen Poole. Even Wiggins is kind of like, it's more of a step back kind of guy, long 2 type of guy, right?
Sure.
So really is probably just Stephen Poole. Yeah,
I guess Kuminga takes it hard, but then he can't make free throws, so that's a different problem. Yeah,
neither can Wiggins. So two, Stephen Poole. But Poole is all more liable to just dribble off his foot instead of shooting. So one. Warriors have 1 guy that can make a layup. Hey, Dante, I think they got everything that they wanted from Dante, right? I think the only thing, and why maybe I put him in the B range, is he's not like an elite defender. He's not GP2 level defender. He might not even be,
but it's probably a better overall player.
But he'll get more money, right? Because he can stay on the floor. GP2, have you seen him this season? But also, you're right. He can handle the ball and he can shoot the 3 more consistently. Although Dante's weird. Like, he'll do some stuff where he'll shoot it. He'll just got a trigger sometimes, and he'll shoot it from like 3 feet behind the arc, and you're like, sure he'd be shooting that shot.
Yeah, he's 37.7% from 3. I'll take that and run.
Sweet. That's sweet.
He's like 35 on his career. So, anytime you get above 37, I'll take it. Honestly, I wonder who wants him in free agency, not because he's not a good player, but his value is so enhanced in a ball movement system. It really is. Like, he's playing better for the Warriors than he played for Milwaukee, because Milwaukee doesn't really move the ball the way 100%. That the Warriors do. He played well for Milwaukee, but it was just always like a lot of Giannis ISO downhill, like Dante in the corner. He's not really a corner guy. But with all that said, I think my favorite thing about Dante is like he does have some of that kind of leadership, some of those leadership qualities. He definitely helped get them out of the malaise there, and like we'll see where he ends up next season, but he definitely was a good pickup, and I've been pretty happy with his play.
Feels like if I'm in Orlando or like an Atlanta, not in Atlanta, or just like a younger team that, you know, maybe I'm about to make a push that I'm paying.
You got like the young
million.
star, but you're not ready to make the push, and you want that vet to
And Dante's not going to kill your, like, he's not going to kill your lot, even like you said, like he's more a leader.
He's not going to come in and be like, Paulo Banchero, this is my team now. He's going to come in there and be like, I'm going to be the guy who like helps you get to the next level.
Steve Kerr brought up a phrase, connector, that I'm thinking about a lot now. I don't know why he's not said it before the season. Maybe he has, maybe just haven't. Like Dante's a connector. Dante's a veteran connector. I guess
he helps Poole. Yeah,
really. Like, didn't MT write a piece about like a Dante? Like, he's a veteran, but he doesn't want to be like. But he's gonna be 27 coming up, and that's a veteran in the NBA.
He's turning 26 now. So
27, 26. Remember, you used to make fun of me for caring about whether I was 26 or 27. You know, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. But
Dante's 26th birthday is January 31st. We'll throw a huge light years party for him.
Well, there you go. So
Pacific catch.
I lost my train of thought. He's gonna be he's a leader. He's a good leader. I don't know why it felt like Milwaukee fans didn't really. It felt like
they drafted him because he never progressed, and you know how it gets. Like, how do we feel about like Wiseman and stuff like that? Like, he's played better than Wiseman, but like, you know what it's like where you watch a guy, you're like, is he not going to get better? And it's, they got mad that he didn't become the star guard that they wanted him to be.
Yeah, this is who he is. This is who he is. He's not a star guard, but for the Warriors, and again, like the Warriors are paying him $6 million.
It's like Iguodala too. They're paying him 4.5.
That is the classic case.
Yeah, Philly was mad he wasn't a superstar. Warriors love him because we know exactly who he is, and that's a perfect like complementary player to what they got going on here.
Well, I think Philly didn't even know who Andre. I think Philly didn't even know who Andre was because Philly wanted him to be Iverson, right? And Andre's like, well, dude, I'm an all-time elite defender, and
that's. I mean, they needed someone to be like the face 25 shots guy, and they drafted him, but that's just not his game. You know what I mean? No. So it is what it is, and I feel like that's kind of why Dante got the bad rap with Milwaukee. It's like they wanted him to be that third option. It'd be like, Giannis, Middleton, and Dante. And Dante's really good at a lot of things, but he's probably not your 20-point per game third option guy. It's just not who he is.
That Andre career arc, by the way, that is exactly what would have happened to Jonathan Kuminga. Exactly what would have happened to him. I can almost, in an alternate universe, what happened with Andre Iguodala is exactly what would have happened with Jonathan Kuminga.
You're saying he'd go to a team and take shots and just not be that guy?
Yep.
Maybe. Yeah.
Put my life on it. Put my life on it because nobody can prove it. But I can guarantee you that he goes to Orlando 2 years ago, or he goes to. I don't know why I always go Orlando. Houston or
Orlando's kind of cool, to be honest. They're actually Franz and Paul
it would be
Franz. Bull are fun to watch,
instead of Kuminga instead of Franz, right? But it just
so Steve Kerr can mail him to the bench, won't play him.
God, you think so?
Does he like rookies? Whatever. We've done this conversation.
Well,
I'm just saying if he gets this Franz, the guy he's seen do what he does in Orlando, he's playing him 30 minutes. If he gets rookie Franz coming in out of college, acting like a rookie, he might get the Moses Moody treatment. Might.
Kyle and Steve are similar, huh? Because Kyle hates rookies too. Kyle Shanahan hates rookies.
Yeah. Most coaches hate rookies. Unless you're Nick Bosa, and it's like, all right, you're already one of the 5 best pass rushers your second game into your rookie year. But that's a high bar. That's a high bar and not a realistic bar. Yeah. So let's get to Kuminga, as you mentioned him now. I gave Kuminga a B+. What'd you give him? I don't have it in front.
B.
Nice. All right, give me your case.
It's not his fault. It's Goodwill Hunting. It's not his fault. It's not Kuminga's fault that he struggled this season. Now, you can argue the offense is a mess, dude. The shot, the ball handling.
So let me back this up a little bit, like, because I feel like, let's
we
not
argue on Kuminga so much.
Let's not hold. Look, I feel like the bad start to the season is probably more on the coaching staff not having a clear idea. But you could also argue them benching him probably got him to buy into his role more than anything, because he was pretty electric as a defender and just kind of being that cutter the last like 15 games up until he got hurt, and hopefully he's back soon. So
there's a lot to argue there. You and I are going to spend 20 minutes on this. I think that there's so much push and pull with Kuminga. I think similar to Jordan Poole early in his career, the push and the pull. It's like what Jordan Poole wants to do versus what the coaching staff wants to do. Same thing with Kuminga.
Sure.
But I gave him a B because he's just so integral to, I think, their identity. Their identity is defense, versatility. Their identity is cutting. And I think when Kuminga plays to that style, IQ offensively, pass the ball, keep it moving. Can I fit into it? And when Kuminga plays to it, A+. In that stretch before he got hurt, A+. But it's when he's the guy that's like in summer league, where I remember watching him in summer league and sitting here and going, dude, that guy can't play for the Warriors. He doesn't want to play. He doesn't want to play the way the Warriors want to play. He wants to shoot 35 times a game. How are you going to tell me that guy is going to play on the Warriors? And maybe that's just never going to happen, right? Maybe that's just something that's not going to be possible for Kuminga to play on the Warriors. But then we learn 4 months later that actually Jonathan Kuminga is a perfect fit for the Warriors because he has all those set traits. So Sam, I don't know, man. I gave him a B because it feels like that he's going to be super important 4 months from now. That's what it feels.
Yeah, my biggest. So one, his defense has progressed. He's playing the GP2 role as kind of their best point of attack defender. That's huge growth. Also, he's been rebounding the ball better. That matters. He's always going to be athletic, getting to the rim and finishing. The reason I gave him a B and not an A, the shot hasn't progressed. And that's the biggest thing for me. 26% from three.
A mess.
67% from the free throw line. It's going to be hard to play him more than 15 minutes a game in the playoffs if those things don't improve in the second half. You know exactly what teams are going to do to him in the playoffs. If he can't hit a shot, they're going to Tony Allen him in the corner. They're going to foul him. If Steph is on a run, they'll be like, we're going to send Kuminga intentional free throws. They do all that stuff. So that's kind of the most important thing for me. If Kuminga can figure out his jump shot, he's playing 30 minutes a game immediately because his defense translates. And he's bought into not having the ball in his hands every possession. And other than that, like, he has to be able to hit shots. And then he's good to go.
Him more than anybody else on this roster. Mm-hmm. They are depending on if they're going to win a championship, I think.
Yeah, they need him to play a rotation wing role in the playoffs. They don't have Otto, they don't have GP2. He can take up the mantle for one of those roles. He has to.
He has to. Not he can. Yeah, he can, but he has to.
Dante will help, but they need Kuminga to help as well. Otherwise, it's just going to be the core five playing 48 minutes, and they're probably going to lose in round 2 because they're dead.
Otherwise, go send 5 picks for OG Anunoby. They need him, and that's why this injury sucks. And frankly,
because
it's
he needs
annoying.
The reps. Because he needs the reps.
Yeah. It's not about is he going to be fine long term? I don't give a shit. They need him to be able to play and develop, like you just said. It's not about. It is about yes, he's going to be fine long term. Cool, Steve Kerr. But at the end of the day, what they're missing, the month that they're going to miss him, because I think it's probably going to be closer to a month that they're going to miss him. Terrible. All right, let's keep it moving. Who do we got?
All right, let's rip through these last few. James Wiseman.
Yeah, F.
No progress really. He went to the G League. We'll see what happens in the second half of the season.
Great.
I'm just ready to be done with the Wiseman experiment.
No, you will not be done with Wiseman. He will be on this team. You will never be done. We will never be done. But I don't have anything to add, Sam. We talked about it. F.
Yeah, I'm going to leave it there. Moody. You gave him a D. I did a C minus, which just feels like a D, but I didn't want to say it. No progress. I feel like the coaching staff is absolutely part of the reason there's no progress, but no progress is no progress. He's not getting on the court. Really disappointing, honestly.
D for disappointing, I think, with both.
Yeah, okay, fine. D for disappointing for Moody. JaMychal Green. Oh, hey, we both gave him an F. Yeah, I mean, this ties in. The front court's a problem. Both of their backup guys got Fs from us. JaMychal, they wanted to replace Bielitsa or Otto with, doesn't have the IQ to play the Warriors way. He does fight hard, but like it's not working, and now he's out.
He does play hard. Like it was.
I want him to have success because he's easy to root for, but it doesn't look like he's going to fit the Warriors system.
And then he's been out, and then he's not coming back anytime soon.
Infection,
like, dude, I don't know, man. So I only gave 2 A's and 2 F's, and 2 F's to your point is the backcourt, the front court guys. So
yeah,
get him some help, man. Get him some help.
Yeah, if you're catching a theme here, we think the front court needs help. The two-way guys, I put them together. You gave him a C, I gave him an A.
Yeah, I gave him a C, and this, I guess, is the one thing we disagreed on. I gave him a C because I got to see too much of them. Too much. Too much.
I feel like that's a bad mark on the coaching staff or the front office, not on like I rated them relative to what I expect from a two-way guy.
Yeah.
Like I thought Lamb and Ty Jerome have basically maxed out in terms of what you can expect from two-way guys. The bigger problem is that they're playing too much.
Are they the best two-way guys in the NBA? Like, are there better two-way guys than these guys that have given minutes to the team?
Without checking right now, I don't think any other team has two-way guys playing as much as the Warriors do. So they've logged, if not the most, top 3 minutes for two-way guys. So that's something. Like no other team uses their two-way guys like this. And maybe it's because other teams don't have roster spots going to like Rollins, who's like, you knew when they drafted Rollins, like he's going to be in Santa Cruz all year, and lo and behold, he's in Santa Cruz all year.
All year, he's not even close to being ready. If I were the Warriors,
their idea, we're going to get a 25-year-old on a two-way so we can draft a 19-year-old who we want to develop.
If I were the Warriors, what I would do is I would not convert either player. I would just let that go. I would waive JaMychal Green, and then I would spend those 2 roster spots on veteran buyouts. Like if I were the Warriors, that's what I would do, because I don't know who the vet buyout guys are, Sam, but they're going to be guys that look at the Warriors and say, you're telling me that Ty Jerome is getting to play 20 minutes a game. Anthony Lamb is the first guy off the bench. You're telling me that's a championship. I can go to that team and I can help this team win a championship. I'm taking that roster spot. And so if I'm the Warriors, I don't convert and I cut JaMychal Green and I get 2 vet buyout guys. That's what I would do.
I do think Ty Jerome's a player they're going to want to sign next year because he's such a fit as a connector, as Steve likes to put it, on offense. And they're probably going to lose Dante in free agency. Like maybe he comes back, but highly unlikely. It's more likely he'll get paid too much money for the Warriors to match. And Ty Jerome can be kind of like a deep bench guy for them, but I kind of agree with you. They might not need to convert him right now. Okay, let's do our overall grades.
D.
I went C minus, which is basically just the same thing. 20 and 21, not good enough. Disappointing fucking first half.
D for disappointment. That's what I got for these guys. So that's the theme of the Warriors for the first half.
It's your midterm Warriors. You got time to turn it around, but we're not sugarcoating it. Not what I want. All right. Appreciate you.